Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Anime Club. I'm Nick Knack. With me is the great Lord Warren.
Hi, I'm the quiet one of the group.
Realm Shifter.
I would say I'm the loud one of the group, but then Seki would then proceed to come at me with her gay bulge.
I would. I am, in fact, the loudest of all of us.
I think you have better access to it than she does, though.
True.
If anyone stabs me with that thing again, I will hit you with the hammer of Helm Hammerhand. This is never not going to be the threat that I have now for people.
I will hit you with the helm of Helm Hammerhand.
And that's
Hammer
it.
of Helm Hammerhand.
That's all of us in the Anime Club. This week we're watching Rosario Vampire.
Rosario plus vampire.
You can't escape your penance, Nick Knack. I can see into your soul.
Look,
I am the Ghost Rider.
look, we all know that this is Nick Knack's fault, and we're not going to blame him for it much.
No, this one's actually my fault. Like, I will claim plausible deniability on Citrus. This one, no, this is my fault.
This is your fault. So, for those of you who might not be aware of the specific statistics of Rosario Vampire, this did come out in 2008. It was the original series is just 13 episodes, and it is based on a manga. Mm-hmm. The manga came out like 2004. There is like a second season, and like some video games, but like we only watched the first season. Thank fucking God.
And I sure as hell hope this is not going back into the hat anytime soon.
Well, you'll have to talk to Nick Knack about that one. So it was done by a studio called Gonzo, which I actually don't think we've ever talked about on the channel before. But it has done stuff like Hellsing, Final Fantasy Unlimited, Full Metal Panic, Kaleidostar, Chrono Crusade, Gantz, Samurai 7, Basilisk, Black Cat. Ooh, Black Cat's a big one for me. A number of things. They're fairly prolific, even up to like somewhat recently. I mean, they were producing anime as recently as 2019, and they did the Kakuryo Bed and Breakfast for the Spirits. I don't think they've done anything since.
Were they maybe one of the studios that got unfortunately hit during COVID?
It doesn't. They're focusing on the NFT market.
That's fucked.
Yeah, they were.
So they pretty much did dip after COVID.
Well, in March 2020, they revealed a plan to execute a reverse stock split to reduce the amount of shares that they had issued in the company down to 24, making them completely owned by ADK. And then it transferred all the shares of the company to one person, Shinichiro Ishikawa, and now they focus on NFTs.
Welcome to the modern world, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so that's certainly something that happened. I don't love that, but, you know. Especially because they did some stuff, like, they did a fair amount of stuff that, like, I know and recognize, which is unfortunate, you know? Like, I really love Kakuryo Bed and Breakfast for the Spirits. Like, that's one of my favorite mangas. Anyways, so yeah, that's Studio Gonzo. This is old. And when I say that I think almost all of us have a storied history with this, is that I remember watching this when you could watch anime on YouTube as like Rosario plus Vampire Episode 1 Part 1 English Dub. And Episode 1 Part 2 English Dub, and then Episode 2 Part 1 English Dub, and Episode 2 Part 2 English Dub.
Yep.
You can still actually find this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Uploaded in dub and sub.
Yeah.
So whether I don't think that's legal, but nobody's pulling it down. So and the original manga was written by Akihisa Ikeda, which I feel like I know that name.
Honestly, I think the only reason it's even still up on YouTube at this point is because Gonzo no longer really has any say in the matter, since they deal with NFTs now.
Probably. I did recognize the name of the author though. They've written something else I own. Ghost Reaper Girl. Which only has 4 volumes so far, but I do actually own the first volume of this.
Interesting.
I was gonna have Nick Knack read it with me for the podcast for the Off the Shelf series, and then I think we never did. Like, I just never put it in the list of things to read.
It'll be interesting to read. I do have some. So my history with this is I never watched the anime. Actually, I read the manga. In fact, it was one of the first manga I've ever read.
Interesting.
It was it was a first manga to be sure.
It was certainly the first manga of all time.
I've got like 4 volumes of it that I got thrifted before I knew what it was. I think I got them for like $2 from a used bookstore, and I didn't know what it was at the time. And now I'm kind of stuck with them. There's a couple series like that where I've just attained like random manga at like a used bookstore in like 2012, and then got stuck with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like what they would do to try to get rid of that.
Yeah, so I guess just also my kind of history with this one is I did like watch this as well, like on YouTube, like what Seki said, at least a little bit of it. But after a certain point, I just could not stand it. Like it was just all of the cringe, like what's referred to as ecchi scenes it was just not something I was into.
Yeah.
Wait, high school or middle school?
I don't even really remember at this point.
I definitely read this in middle school.
Middle school.
This was high school for me on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, you know what? I feel like I would have been better served if I had watched this in high school.
I think this might have been like transitory for me, like transitioning from middle school to high school. So like it's in between summer break.
I definitely wasn't even transitional for me. This was like firmly like 7th grade. Like I'm positive of it because I watched this before I got into sports anime, and in 8th grade I read all of Prince of Tennis.
Yeah.
And watched it. So it had to have been before that, and I didn't watch anime in 6th grade. So it had to have been 7th grade.
And I think the only reason I even watched this as well was because at the time I was more of a manga reader because I had easier access to reading manga than I did to watching anime at the time. So it was not one of the ones that was on the popular list of mangas at the time. So this was just one that I never really paid attention to.
You know what? That's fair. I now, looking back at my own getting into anime, having watched this again now in the year of our Lord 2025, who had to also watch this with me. I feel really bad for baby Seki, who really did get into anime with a spoon-fed combination of Rosario Vampire, Vampire Knight, Pre-Tier, and all of Naruto.
Oh my goodness.
That was a hell of a combo.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe that's why I'm so fucked up about what I like.
You think? Gee, you think?
Yeah.
Maybe that was a sign, correct? Because then right after that it was like Maid Sama and Oron and Fruits Baskets.
See, but those are arguably good.
Yeah, but that initial shock of like Pre-Tier, Rosario Vampire, Vampire Knight, and Naruto is probably mentally scarring on a deeper level.
It's one of those kind of literal brain rot before brain rot really became a term.
It's a choice. So I think I guess animation and music.
I really don't have much to say, honestly.
Of its time.
Really, I thought the panty shots were stunningly well animated. Some of the best in the entire series.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's an exaggeration.
No. Did anyone else stick around after the credits to watch the preview for the next thing, which was every single time without fail just a
panty shot.
long like 15-second panty shot with the same track playing over it?
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah, I think perhaps the animators need to be commended for the amount of time and attention that they put into those panty shots, because there was a lot, and they were better animated than every other part of the show.
There was some dedication there, and I almost respect them for that.
Yeah, I
But-
think I would respect them a little bit more if they had been more sparing in their use of them.
I think, honestly, this is kind of like one of the deeper like cultural differences. I do not personally understand the obsession of harem and ecchi series with panties. I don't, and I don't want to, quite frankly.
I'm not going to say anything to that because that's just going to get weird.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be honest here. I don't think that it is limited to the Eastern world that panties and undergarments are of interest to to teens and tweens, I mean Captain Underpants is arguably the Western version of this. I joke. That is a strong argument that I'm not actually making. In this essay, I will not.
This is not a thought out point.
This is not a well thought out argument.
But like the presence of like panty, like the obsession with panties in like a teen and preteen demographic is not unique, I think, to the East, because there are certainly many instances of this appearing in Western media as well.
Well,
it's just in a different way.
Yes.
Let's be somewhat fair to the concept here, I guess, and I hate to be the one to say this. When you think about like undergarment humor, it's the closest you can get to straight up raunchy humor without like pushing things out all the way into like straight up sex jokes, which end up being, that tends to hike your rating up a bit, and it's even more likely to trip up censors.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of cringy to us. If you are appealing for a younger teen demographic, it makes a level of sense, actually.
Especially because... Go on, Born.
I do have to note, we kind of are forgetting about Victoria's Secret, Playboy.
That's what I was just going to bring up, is I think... The difference here is perhaps because anime is meant to be a little bit more all ages, right? Like something like this that's not explicitly seinen or josei is meant to sort of be a little bit more all ages.
I'd imagine.
So they toe this line of like still acceptable to like a teenager, but like still safe for a kid to watch. Whereas in the West, we very clearly often delineate our shows between kids, teens, and adults. And our teen shows are honestly, I mean, keep in mind you're thinking live action and not animated, because we don't have as many animated kid shows here, but some of our teen shows are also like teen pregnancy and like sex and threesomes, and I mean like some of the stuff that has premiered on various channels that is targeted towards a like 16 to 21 demographic is arguably much worse than this because it explicitly lays that stuff out in the West.
I mean, I suppose as well, but you've also got... I mean, this was also in other eras of animation that were before this even existed, because you've got weird cartoon shows, things like Ren and Stimpy, that really kind of towed the line of what would be acceptable for a kid's show. So,
yeah, but I mean,
it's just a different type of sensibility, and I'm not comparing these two kinds of shows in that... or in a specific way, but they are their own kind of raunchy humor.
Yeah. Are you good, Nick?
I got a headache, like a bad one, just kicked me.
Oof. Ooh. Do we want to pause for a moment?
Yeah.
There might be some headache meds somewhere in the house.
If you can find some, that'd be awesome.
Oh, look. I don't know where they'd be, but I'll look.
Sorry, guys.
You're all
Painkillers
good.
would work as well, probably.
You're all good. Take your time. Is that tea? Right there
Yes,
as well?
yeah, because I was feeling tired earlier, so I get a giant ass thing of tea.
Yeah.
You okay?
Did you have a sleepless night?
Oh, I accidentally stayed up till 3 a.m. because it was the daylight savings time.
Oh,
You did notice?
Let's just say I finished a big reading the visual novel project.
Excedrin?
Ibuprofen. I finished a big visual novel reading project last night, so I started doing a lot of writing and
Just kept going.
kept going. And next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. I'm like, fuck.
Ironically, since I sensibly went to bed at 10.
I did not sensibly go to bed. I went to bed at 1 in the morning. I mean, I still woke up at least 9 a.m., but I was not feeling it, that's for sure.
Okay. Give me a little bit. Give me a little bit.
Yeah, it'll probably take 30 minutes or so for the medicine to start acting.
And wait, where were we?
Well, I was kind of on a tangent of...
Well, regardless, I think it's safe to say that this is definitely towing a line of still being acceptable to preteens and younger, while definitely appealing to a more teen audience.
Oh, for sure.
In its rather raunchy sensibilities. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. Although you kind of had that with like shows like the original Teen Titans, but like you didn't go toward the sexual route. You went more of the mental, emotional route stuff, I guess you could say.
Okay,
I don't know. Do you remember the absolute hilariousness that was the Trouble in Tokyo movie and the kiss?
What, between Starfire and
Yeah.
Robin?
Yeah,
and
that
and
one.
when Starfire kissed that other Japanese boy to learn his language.
but like mental gymnastics to justify the society. This mangaka was just horny.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's horny in every facet of this. This is not just an innocent little, it's just the kind of humor that appeals to this demographic that
No,
works
this
for
is-
this type of story we're telling. No. This is a lot of horny. Like you can excuse some of that away with that, not as much as there's here.
Yeah.
This is the baseball bat in hand, bonk, go to horny jail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think at this point we can get to talking a little bit about the series, but you would at first the premise sounds interesting because you've got this kid and he's supposed to be going to high school, but none of the local high schools accept him, but he somehow gets into this like boarding school, right? That's like supposedly is probably better than the local high schools that his father was told about by like a drunken person one night.
It was more like he picked up this piece of paper off the ground that they just so happened to drop.
Yeah. And then it's a monster academy.
Turns out it's a monster secret society.
Yup.
Can I just say, like, this series, beneath all of the cringe and dumb, shitty storytelling, actually has okay world building.
Surprisingly.
Like,
Yeah.
surprisingly decent to good world building.
Yeah, like the separate kind of world that Yokai
Yeah.
Academy is in, the way that monsters have to regulate themselves and hide their traits, the rules around what they're allowed to do and what they're not. Yeah, I mean, you know.
And I will say, despite all of the characters' obvious horniness, they're not all completely insufferable. Not completely, at least. There's still moments where they absolutely are insufferable. But I wasn't cringing at every single moment, at the very least. At the bare minimum.
I think this series, like, if I separate my problems with the horny from my problems with the writing, this series, for me at least, its problems fall into the same exact trappings as a lot of other harem manga series, even ones that are less horny, fall into. Where it's every character, once introduced, kind of needs to be involved with almost every plot line to a slightly equal degree.
Yeah.
And it ends up making all the characters feel very shallow in one note as a result.
Yeah.
Even when they do have layers that they occasionally go into, it's just not... It gets repetitive to see the same character appear for the same exact gag 3 or 4 episodes in a row.
Right.
Look. All that's running through my head is just, if you're gonna watch a weirdly horny show, right? You know what's better than this?
What?
Keijo.
Well, yeah, I don't have a problem with horny.
Yeah.
I just think this is not well written is the problem.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's yeah.
I mean, obviously the kind of the Rosario plus vampire refers to sort of our essentially titular character, Mocha.
Titular.
Mocha.
Titular character.
Oh my fucking god, Realm. Grow up. You are no longer a teen boy.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna do the Beavis and Butthead thing.
You are apparently a maidenless man.
Oh, absolutely, I am.
So Mocha, who is she's basically the poster child for the whole series, right? She's pink-haired, but sometimes she transforms into this really powerful vampire, and the only difference is her hair turns silver and her boobs and butt get bigger, visibly. And there's a little like magical girl transformation sequence every time this happens where her boobs get bigger and her butt gets bigger.
I thought the boobs only got bigger during the transformation scenes, because whenever I saw her after transformation scene, it didn't look like it was bigger.
No, they get bigger. Yeah.
I thought it was mostly just that the transformation caused her shirt to bust open or something.
Because her boobs get bigger.
Eh.
And it makes her skirt shorter because her ass gets bigger. That is what happens.
I see. I admittedly did not notice that detail, but I was also like,
My
And you know what the advantage of a shorter skirt is?
more panty shots.
More panty
My estimation of you as a human being has gone up realm. Congrats. You are not degenerate anymore.
oh,
Well, you're not as degenerate.
I would be careful how far you take that statement, but also,
Sorry, let me rephrase. You're not as degenerate.
yes.
But yeah, no, that's what's happening. And then there's a bunch of other girls.
Yeah, there's
So many.
Like Snow, Succubus.
Yep, the succubus is
Witch,
Kurumu.
the
Witch
snow
2.
is
there's
the
two.
snow is Yukari.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the Yukiona. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which, like, why is it that every single time I see a yokai series, there's always a Yukiona?
Because it's a pretty popular Japanese yokai.
I know, I just...
And the series has already not got, like, for being a yokai academy, they actually have a pretty high Western focus, surprisingly.
I
is
know,
true.
right?
You know what I would prefer to watch instead of this? Neuro, Rise of the Yokai Clan. We watched that a couple seasons back. Yeah.
Because they've at least got more actual like Japanese yokai in there.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I don't mind that there's like other monsters that aren't just like yokai.
Like I literally
like
laughed.
vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I literally laughed when we saw like lizard men. I just could not think about. Oh my god, it's the secret society of lizard men.
Yeah.
Oh my.
The naming convention for each episode is fun because it's blank and a vampire.
yes.
Blank and a vampire.
I seem to remember that, like, that name convention is ripped directly from the manga, too.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this show is not worth us going episode by episode.
No.
Because at its core, it is a harem high school show.
Yes.
Yep.
And all the normal things that happen in a high school show happen here. You've got a newspaper club incident. You've got a swimsuit incident. You've got like somebody struggling with like class incident, like a weird teacher, summer break, like all of the parts of like any harem high school anime appear here. All of them.
Yep.
And to be honest, they're not. I think I agree that it's not really written well enough for any of it to be standout. The important part is kind of just this like interaction of like him trying to hide that he's human because humans can't go here.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
There's the occasional cool moment. Like, even though I hate the episode because it has a really long, overdrawn out music sequence, I actually did kind of like the pool episode because they play into the Mocha.
Yeah.
Mocha can't get into the water because the vampires can't touch running water.
But a pool is not running water.
I'm sorry.
We're extending that to normal water, apparently.
A pool is not running water.
I'm sorry, but that scene actively ruined it for me because one of my favorite video game franchises unironically does that as well. So I'm like, wow.
A running water is a river, a stream, a creek.
Do you not know how a pool pump works?
No, because that's not running water. Circulating water is not the same thing as running water. Running water has an origin point and an end point. Circulating water is just on a loop. For example, a lazy river at a water park does not count as running water. A vampire could go on an inner tube on a lazy river. Now, they could not go whitewater rafting on an actual river. That's the way this works.
I wonder where like the origins of vampires and water don't mix come from. If like they were actually thinking of stagnated water, or just like flowing water in general, or like
folklore,
what?
it's almost always running water.
Yeah.
And the reasoning for that is probably just because of stories of like if you cross a river, they will not follow you. Normally, because like typically vampire stories come from the stories of like women being chased and attacked. And typically, at least in older times, I mean, think of running water is typically a barrier of territory. So people are less likely to pursue someone across multiple territories,
Yeah.
And then just, in general, running water is also dangerous. Because if you fall into like a heavily rushing river, it could be very hard to get to the other side. Like if you get to the other side of a bridge and then you destroy the bridge, right? Like how are they gonna follow you?
Vampires versus moats. Ooh.
Moats are not.
That's more like a
stagnated.
No.
That's more like
If
circulating
moats
water.
are actively fed by a river or stream, they are running water. If they are not, they are still water.
Yeah, stagnant water.
Because some moats are actively connected to running water. It's what keeps them replenished and clean. But some moats are just filled and then not connected anymore.
Yeah. But I mean,
But then you get the whole threshold thing. So
Yeah.
you know.
but also they literally also like comment on it throughout this. They're in the series. Like they say that just in general, it seems like water itself has a purifying effect against a vampire specifically, is the statement that's given.
Which also goes into like ideas of like holy water and just throwing the
Yeah.
holy part out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's maybe where the in between here is they're kind of
They're sort of consolidating the two different like anecdotes on how to beat a vampire.
holy water and running water, and if you take away the holy and the running, all water is water, and therefore it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you take away the two integral parts of these two different things,
It's the age old question: is water wet?
We see that water's not deadly to vampires. They're just water intolerant.
oh, like me with cheese. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I am no longer cheese intolerant. Fun fact: I actually might know why I no longer have a lactose intolerance.
Oh.
Oh.
That's because about once every 7 years, your body rolls on the genetic lottery slots, and you actually do have a chance to switch up your intolerances and allergies.
You got a new trait.
Yeah,
Nice.
probably allergic to something else now.
Trait gained, other trait lost.
Trait gained tolerates cheese now. Of course, it doesn't. It won't shake up like all of your allergies or anything, but it's more that every 7 years there's a small chance that like some part of your like allergies and intolerances and the way your body works will shift because your body kind of all of the cells refresh themselves.
So demerit loss, lactose intolerance, demerit gain.
Yeah. Go on. What are you gonna say is the demerit gained? I want to go on.
You want to finish that statement? You want to finish that statement, Nick?
Now you can eat a lot more pizza and a lot more cheese.
Illiteracy.
Shut the fuck up.
That's a bold assumption to you of you to make, Nick Knack, because you assume that people read.
Rome, you don't understand.
You lost your literacy trait a long time ago, apparently, if you were originally a manga reader, not an anime watcher.
Rome, you don't understand. This is him consistently targeting me for
Yeah.
not liking visual novels. Apparently, I can't read because I don't like visual novels.
Yeah, apparently. That spiteful judgment.
Okay, so moving on from vampires and water.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. I need that wasn't an intense enough fight. I need to pick more of a fight with you.
Nope.
Come
Nope.
on.
You're
Come at me.
shit out of luck.
One Piece is stupid, manhwa is worthless, and mushrooms are a compromise, not a food.
I gotta say that your genetic lottery rolling, you must roll a nat one every time since you didn't gain lactose tolerance, considering that the amount of cheese and dairy that you still consume to
Yeah,
this day.
Nick, that sucks for you.
Must suck to be you.
Yeah.
Take the L.
I'm not the one that gets nailed down by lactose intolerance.
I'm not either.
I'm not either. I've never been lactose intolerant. I've never had to
tell
take
all
that.
this to sound out if we just exposed him.
Yeah. I just don't give two shits anymore.
See, Vorn has chosen the
What are you
correct
talking about? You're
option.
lactose intolerant. You give a lot of shits for this.
Oh my god.
Oh, how much you want to shove that microphone up your mouth right now?
Don't hurt my microphone.
Wait, you ready to fight me? If we get into a harsh enough, mean enough fight, she'll cut this, or she won't make me edit this.
No, so guys, we need to be really amicable this episode. No arguments, because then Nick Knack will be editing it. So let's all sing Kumbaya and have a great review.
No. We have a roast of the anime.
Yes.
Somebody bring the marshmallows.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I mean,
What else can we get into?
I have so little left to say about this anime in general, mostly because it's like I long ago came to terms with the fact that this is not something I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it doesn't make me feel hate towards it. It's just not good.
Yeah.
I mean, what's something usually different from like normal these animes is the let's see, that witch like section right there, like the witch field. So yeah, that was different.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We forgot about that character, didn't we? The lolly. I mean, the witch.
Yeah.
No, Witch 2.
The-
Electric
Oh, and
Boogaloo.
witch too. Yeah.
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 The witches.
Yeah.
Yep.
The witches.
Which, by the way, did anybody have a bingo out on racism against witches because they're not monstrous enough?
I mean, yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to be on my bingo.
It was very ham-fisted in the way that it went about it.
I mean, I like the idea in this kind of world, but they don't really do anything with it after that. No.
Yeah,
No, I think because like all of the students are supposed to look like humans, so it's like and like if you're out in the world, you're supposed to look human. Like you can't just go around looking like a fox with 9 tails in the real world. So like arguably, I would consider that to be like an asset if you had less of your appearance to disguise, you know, and could live more easily amongst humans. You know. Also, witches don't require like blood or anything, and they don't shift at the full moon. So it's, honestly, really, the witches should be looking down on all the rest of them.
right.
Like in terms of who gets to kind of fit into the world the easiest.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like they're looked down upon on both sides because their form, no matter what, is looking like a human, and the humans hate them because they have magic, because witch trials.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Witches have gone into style lately. haven't
yeah,
you heard?
witches
Yeah.
are popular these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about old timey stuff.
Well, but most of those people weren't witches. They were just women who could read.
Yeah.
You know, like me, I would have been burned at the stake.
Yeah.
For a multitude of things, not just the reading.
Yeah.
Let's all be honest here. A multitude of
What
things.
you're missing here is that she's actually a witch.
But that would not be the reason I'd be burned at the stake. We all know that.
The problem here is when you have when you're saying you're a monster fucker and you have like Cthulhu posters in your room, they're gonna look at you and go, yeah. I know we get it wrong all the time. No, that's a witch.
I mean,
that's just a witch.
I mean, we don't even need to go that far. All we need to look at is the amount of Egyptian stuff that Seki has around here, and that would, in and of itself, be enough to be
pagan.
to be deemed pagan. Yes.
Yeah, pagan, cultist, witch. Pick
Make
one.
way for the Spanish Inquisition.
The Inquisition.
Deus
Da,
Volt.
da, da.
Deus Volt. Deus Volt. We will take back the Holy Land.
That had nothing to do with witches.
No, it didn't. But I
Okay.
wanted to make the joke.
Just making sure.
No, yeah, I know. It did. I know it didn't. I just wanted to make the joke.
Yeah, okay. So, waifu wars?
Waifu wars?
Waifu
Waifu
wars.
wars?
Waifu
wars?
wars?
Waifu wars?
Waifu wars?
Vorn?
The Crusades, which are coming for your room?
Rude, but okay. Knick-knack?
I'm gonna say Kuruma because it's the most honest character. At least this character is outwardly supposed to be sexualized.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Okay,
wait, which character?
The succubus.
Yeah.
I see.
I can get with that. Realm?
I'm gonna go with just the pool.
Was good looking water.
It was good looking water.
You know?
Made me want to swim.
Yes.
Yeah, oh god, I really was not thinking about this when I was watching the show.
The steak, which is coming for you?
I guess maybe Yukari.
Uh,
Yukionas are typically fun.
yeah.
So, get Yukari, I guess.
Aye.
If I have to pick one.
You can squint and have flashbacks to Nora Rise of the Yokai Clan at least.
Exactly. I can pretend.
You can.
Yeah.
You can but this is the difference between we have a Yukiona at home.
Yeah. The Yukiona at home.
Yes.
So I think perhaps then. So I've already said there's kind of like two, right? But if you just want a more well-written horny show, I think Keijo is a really good option. But if you want a better show about monsters that's horny, Interspecies Reviewers is your way to go. That is the
Yeah.
option here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But if you like more like the yokai and the world existing around yokai, I feel like Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan. Or, actually, from the same studio, Kakuryou, Bed and Breakfast for the Spirits. Both of those are a little... Well, Nura's kind of an action, but Kakuryou is more of like a caring sort of thing. It has to do with, the spirits and the yokai. Much better animated, newer show. Yeah, so that's kind of my suggestions here. I mean, I'm sure there's a few other yokai shows that might come to mind that I'd be like, oh, well, that also would work, but I can't really. There's too many to like sit here and list them because yokai is a very popular topic.
Well, if you want to fuck a vampire,
That's a way to start a sentence.
might I recommend reading the original Tsukihime visual novel. It was prepared for. There's a web version that was prepared by a French Type Moon fan group that has English an English option available. It is complete with all of the H scenes, and it is fully translated now across all routes.
Oh no, I'm in danger.
This is Seki as hell coming for her.
The worst part is I know it's coming, and it's gonna be a payback for Ennis Lobby.
No, I actually
I
probably
just
wouldn't make you
know
read the old version of Tsukihime. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just waiting for the PC of the remake to come out. But the old one is the one where you get to fuck a vampire.
Okay.
Ah.
You guys?
I was going to suggest if you want to lean more into like the harem aspect of it, but you want an actually like decent-ish show, I would actually recommend the quintessential quintuplets.
I love that Realm is convinced that you can put decent show and harem into the same sentence because I don't believe you can.
I mean, it depends on what you describe as a harem, I guess.
I
That
mean,
is true.
we already know. I inhale copious amounts of copium, so there's that.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
Premise: Iruma-kun goes to demon school, I think it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Isn't that Iruma-kun at the Demon Academy?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the absolute goons
Which is
out
basically
there.
the same thing, just newer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wait,
Yeah.
Instead of goons, do you mean the gooners?
Well, gooners or whatever you want to call yourselves. I don't care. Vampire bun.
Vampire.
Dance in the Vampire Bund?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would like to congratulate all four of us for not suggesting Vampire Night.
I've never seen Vampire Night, so. But also, that feels like
you
I
are
will-
lucky.
I will-
demographic.
Should
You are lucky.
I suggest it out of pure
No.
spite?
No.
I kind of
No.
want to.
No.
I kind of
No.
want to.
No. No. No.
Vampire
No.
Night. Go
No.
watch it, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
This is
Don't.
This is absolutely despite Seki.
Don't do that to
If you
yourself.
want to spite Seki,
Don't do this to
if
yourself.
you want to spite Seki, go watch Vampire Night.
Don't do this to yourself. Have some small amount of self-respect. Do not read Vampire Incest. Do not watch Vampire Incest.
Win
You made Vorn cry.
Wincest.
Realm. It's not Wincest. It's Vincest, if anything. Anyways.
What, we're supposed to end this? We haven't gotten into our fight yet.
Nope.
What, no, archaeology is stupid.
Nope.
Rome never existed. You can't convince me otherwise.
There's that one lady who believes that. You should watch her videos. I'm mellow, my guy. We
The
are not
pu-
getting into a fight. You are editing this.
The pyramids of Egypt. What?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Built by aliens. Didn't you know? Talk to Dr. Daniel Jackson.
Aliens don't exist. The pyramids of Egypt don't exist.
Okay.
The Librarian is a better version of Indiana Jones.
It is. It's actually funnier.
Indiana Jones was useless in his own movie.
He was. The Ark still would have gotten to the exact same place.
Antiquarians did nothing wrong.
Okay. They did popularize archaeology.
The British Museum is an above-board, perfectly clean enterprise.
Today, maybe.
Try harder, everyone.
I think you have to announce the next anime.
Oh, yeah.
The Egypt government will never get back to you.
So due to an emergency postponing of this recording, we did have to off camera do our little rock paper scissors between Vorn and Realm. I believe Realm won.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are we watching for the next 2 weeks?
We are watching Platinum End 1 through 12.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you can tell us that we're done.
Try
Wait.
harder, everyone.
That's Nick Nack's acceptance of defeat.
We will never end. Never!